LSU. I said, they ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU, huh? They ain't ready for the LSU. No, they ain't ready for the LSU. We the best in the league if you looking for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
TA. We live right after a dub. I mean,
Man,
immediately after a dub.
They got a little crazy there at the end.
That one got too close for comfort.
Yeah.
Close for comfort.
What a game, though. I mean, I'd rather it end like that than it be just absolute demolition. And you're like, oh, okay. I mean, sometimes Reagan, you need that. Like sometimes as an LSU fan, you need like just a breather where you can relax and everything's chill and you just completely dominate an opponent. But then sometimes, as a sports fan, you want like that really close, like high intensity game.
Yes, the competition. And you had that tonight, right? You had that because I think Zach. Oh, you froze for a second there. You had some real competitiveness tonight, Zach. So it's a little something going on tonight, and that little scuffle, right, led to 2 ejections. You're like, okay, man, maybe a little something extra tonight going on. And
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I like to see it. I like to see the fire. I like to see the energy. Those are good things. The little shoving match doesn't hurt in sports every now and then. I mean,
no.
It happens. It happens when you're competing. You love what you do, and it is what it is. And I kind of liked it in that moment. I felt like, LSU was struggling a little bit early on. At that point in the game, we were actually down 1 point. And so maybe we needed a little something to like put it in gear. And then of course it did. We obviously built a big lead and extended that lead. And then of course it got close in the fourth quarter. I mean, it was kind of I don't know. It was a different game in different quarters. It was a totally different game.
Back and forth for sure.
Anyways, what's up, Tyler? Good to see you back in here, TT. And Ryan, what's up, Zach and Passa?
Have you Ryan's changed his profile? It's Big Stack Kelly now.
Yes,
with the money bags.
Hey, for the longest time, in infamy, the picture of Jimbo Fisher looking in the mirror and it being Kevin Sumlin on the other side will live in infamy. Has a special place in my heart.
Yeah. I don't know if that was Ryan though. I don't know if that was Ryan or I think that was somebody else.
Ryan?
I don't think so. No.
I thought that was Ryan. I thought he had that for a little bit. Either way, that picture lives in infamy. Either way, that's the greatest picture. To make fun of Texas A&M, that was one of the greatest pictures of all time.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Anyways, maybe Ryan can confirm that for us if it was him or not. But he's always got the great profile pictures
always
going on. Yeah. Very appropriate. Big Stack Kelly. I mean, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Ryan. The big stack's been coming out. He said, "No, it wasn't me. I wish it was, though." Hey, you got to respect the pick. The pick was amazing. So
yeah, for sure.
Especially the hatred between LSU and A&M has grown recently in recent years. Significantly, and it all started back in 2018 when LSU was robbed in College Station, Joe Burrow's first season in the 7 OT game. Everyone stinking talks about that game, and it makes me so mad that nobody talks about the controversy about that game. And that's what I knew would stinking happen. Nobody ever remembers the game. They always remember the final score, and they remember that it was a 7 overtime game. They don't remember anything else. They don't remember the interception that should have sealed the deal. They don't remember The first down. They don't remember the fumble that was not reviewed or could not be reviewed in overtime that clearly was fumble. All the stupid things. Oh, it makes me so mad.
Moore was down. When people argue that Moore wasn't down, he didn't have possession of the ball when he was down. When he regained possession, he was actually standing.
Are we talking about Mon?
Yeah, he said Moore. Kellen Mond. Yeah, Kellen Mond. Mond was definitely down during that. I mean, there's a lot of stupidity. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's forever ago. Feels like.
Anyways, we're supposed to be focused on hoops. We had a hoops recap tonight, obviously coming off a dub. We'll talk about the women's hoops. We'll give you the latest scoop on men's hoops. And buddy, it's a humdinger. Latest scoops on men hoops is a humdinger. I'm here to tell you what. We'll talk about the new staff hires, and we're gonna hate, man. Golly, we are like, what is it? It's 2 weekends away. We are 2 weekends away, including this coming weekend, from opening day in Alex Box Stadium. So I
can't wait.
I'm really stinking pumped. And so tonight opens our baseball infield preview. We'll give you infield. We'll give you outfield. Of course, we're going to give you our thoughts, some rotational guys, right? We're going to give you our potential starters, our potential depth pieces, and then we're, of course, going to give you a look at the pitching staff. We're going to give you our thoughts on starters, relievers, closers, all of those roles and how they shape out. It's going to be very interesting, and I want to talk more about, kind of a big picture with that when we get to that segment. But man, this is going to be a unique year for Jay Johnson. It really is. This season is going to be a little bit different.
Ryan said, "Tell me something good, TA." Something good is you have Michaela Williams on your women's basketball team.
Absolutely,
37 points tonight, career high. Yeah, she was balling, man. I think she what was it? 6 made threes. I mean, she is the reason that you did not fumble this game away.
Yeah,
she hit massively clutch shots every time it seemed like Oklahoma made it close. I mean, she was there to separate and obviously hit
balled out.
And obviously she hit the one at the end to really seal the deal.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And of course, another double-double from Anissa Morrow, 21 points and 12 rebounds. Another great game. Flajay Johnson had a great game. She had a great game from the field. Her three-point shooting, she was 2 for 5, which isn't horrible, but she was really good from the field with 25 points as well, along with 5 assists. And you love to see that. Michaela Williams, by the way, also had 5 assists to her total as well, just to highlight what a great night she had. And man, Zach, kind of go. I know we mentioned it briefly, but Samaya, I really, really think that kind of scuffle really was a motivator, and that's why I say I was okay with it. As we talked about earlier, we were down a point at that moment. I think you can afford to lose Samaya Smith in this game. And I'm not gonna lie. I know there was 2 ejections, there was 2 technicals, and blah blah blah. But I feel like Samaya was a little bit warranted because now I'm not saying you would have assessed this girl a technical. I don't think it recalled that, but the girl who Samaya shoved down, I mean, clearly was over exaggerating. Right, the moment. I think it was just a common foul on Samaya, and then the other girl overreacts and throws her elbow up, slinging Samaya, and like in that moment, I'm kind of like it wasn't that bad. Like you didn't have to do all that, and I think that's what drew the response from Samaya. Like it was the reaction the girl had. I don't remember who it was for Oklahoma, but that she shoved to the ground. But it was kind of like, all right, bro, like I don't know what you're trying to get here, but it was just a common foul. I don't know what you're trying to draw here. And obviously it irritated Samaya. And she shoved, and of course the other player responded. Coaches, I think, handled it well. But it created this chippiness, and Ryan's kind of talking about it a little bit, and they were kind of at the officials a lot. I know Mulkey was in the ear of an official a few times, and so it was – I don't know. When
is she not, Reagan? When is she not?
That's true. When is she not? But I don't know. I liked that moment. I was like, okay, here we go. Like, lock in. Ever since the South Carolina game, and it feels like people kind of been down on them a little bit, and this is just they'll never beat them. They'll blah blah blah. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of fight in this team. I really like this team, and I feel like this team this year is a lot similar to what Jay Johnson's going to have with his baseball team. Like, it's like the core people that brought great success for Kim Mulkey, the core people that brought great success for Jay Johnson, those people are gone. And it's like a completely different new team. There is some returning players, just like Jay Johnson will have some returning players. But like, it's new, a lot of new faces. So I'm pleased with where they're at in this season. I didn't expect them to go to Columbia and win. I think they played good, but to be at 22-1 at this point in the season, I'm proud of them. And
I think it's better than what probably people thought.
Oh yeah,
I didn't expect them to have a major drop off. I thought they'd be really good and compete. I knew obviously that. I really knew that they would make the tournament as far as that goes. But I don't think many people expected us to go into Columbia and win that game. As difficult as it's been as an LSU women's basketball fan to see them not be able to get over that hump and beat South Carolina, it's really difficult to go on the road, against the defending national champs and it being South Carolina and that dynasty that Don Staley has created, and to get a win like that. So they're playing really well. I think they're a little disrespecting the polls. Moved them up. They were undefeated and they sat outside the top 5 for a long time. Finally getting the top 5, probably just to get some better TV ratings against the South Carolina game. Probably that's why they did that. And then they lose that game and you bump them back immediately. So I don't know. Yeah, I think they're going to continue to win a lot of games. They do have a really difficult test. They have a really difficult stretch. So they're going to host Mississippi State to open up February, which Samaya Smith, by the way, as Ryan mentioned, will be not available in that game.
Not too big,
because of the ejection. I think that's it's a good thing. It's State. It's a little bit better. And you're at home, so it's an opponent you can handle probably a lot better. Got to go on the road against Missouri, winnable game. Host Tennessee. You know what that looked like on the road. You got to believe LSU will win that game, but expect that to be really tight. Then you got to go to Texas. That's going to be a massive game. Then you have a very winnable game against Georgia at home. Then you go on the road to Kentucky, which is going to be really difficult as well. Another top 15 team. And then you go on the road to Bama, who's a top 25 team. So February is going to be difficult, more difficult for LSU than it has been here in the month of January. So a lot to overcome for this LSU women's team, but they just keep winning, man. And so proud of them. Fully expect them to make a deep run in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. We'll see. Hopefully that's the case. But they're loaded, Reagan, and hopefully we can soon. Last year Poa can come back. I know she's been out for a little while.
Yeah.
Hopefully Kaylin Gilbert can get going again. She's been kind of quiet here the last few games, but we know what she can do offensively when she gets going. So, but when you have the big three of Anissa Morrow and Flau'jae Johnson and Michaela Williams, you're gonna win most of your ball games, and that's what they've done so far this season. So, really, really big win for them tonight to kind of overcome some of that adversity Probably a gut check. I mean, leading by 24, you felt comfortable. But Oklahoma's a really good team as well. I mean, they took Texas to the wire at Texas to open the season. You're going to be playing Texas here soon in the month of February. So really good overall win for LSU to be able to overcome some of that adversity after blowing a big lead and to still hang on to the win. It's a little bit.
It was top 15 victory.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, literally. It's a big win. It's a big win. So big win for the girls. Boys, Reagan, more of the same, but Reagan, you got to be impressed with the fight that they've had in the last two games against two teams. Yeah, I mean,
very
top five teams in the country, and
they
played really well against both of them.
Yeah, and my sarcasm earlier was due to the reason I said it the way I said it is it's the same mistakes, it's the same issues that are not allowing them to get over the hump. And there's a lot of debate on social media and online about, is this Matt McMahon? Is it talent? Is it, what is it? And, I'll be honest, at this point, Matt McMahon, I've given him a pass for the talent. And I've said, and been behind him, look at the recruiting classes he's brought in, and they've been good. But man, at some point you got to see some fruit from this, right? You look at a team like Vanderbilt, it's the coach's first stinking year there. It's his first year. And they've got a great team. They went and got Haggard from Michigan State, right? Why can't LSU do the same? I mean, I understand I really do understand, like, especially the first year, second year, like, especially when he came and there's like, are you even going to be allowed to play in the postseason? There's a scholarship ban there, I get that. But right now, there's no postseason ban, right? You do have the scholarship ban. But it's one. It's one. You can get talented enough players with a one scholarship ban to come and compete. Or restriction, not ban, really, just a restriction. It's this, and also it's the same issue. So, number one, you're seeing other teams quickly turn it around. Number two, you're seeing the same issues. So at some point, I do think, I like Matt McMahon. I really do. And Zach, we've supported him, and we wanted them to hire Matt McMahon. But at some point, you do have to say, okay, what's the issue here? Who's the problem here? And ultimately, it falls on Matt McMahon. He's the head coach. He's the guy getting paid the money to do this. The issues have got to be fixed. Can they be fixed this year? I don't know. I don't think they can. They just keep doing the same things. But like you said, Zach, I am proud of them in the way that they played the last two games. Maybe that's a sign of some improvement. So when you don't play Alabama or Auburn, maybe you see the fruit of some of those improvements.
Yeah. Well, the next 6 games are very gettable for LSU.
Exactly. It's a good stretch right here. You need to stack some wins.
Definitely need to try to stack some wins. You're going to host Texas. Texas is kind of a similar team to you. You're going to go on the road to Georgia, winnable game. You're going to host Ole Miss, winnable game. You're going to go to Arkansas. You've already beat them this year. You're going to go to Oklahoma. You're going to host South Carolina, and all those games are very winnable games. So LSU definitely needs to try and stack some wins here. I mean, I would love it to see. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, I'd love it for LSU to win all 6 of those, right? That'd be phenomenal, just for them to do that. But is it likely? No. But I mean, you just want to see LSU kind of build off of what you've seen from the last two games, and obviously you were playing two teams that are two of the best teams in the country, and they fought hard. But with another thing, Reagan, is we can't forget, Reagan. They're down two of the best players.
Same thing.
They're down two of the best players, and again, I know we've said it like 100 times, but this year is the deepest that the SEC's ever been. What does it look like what does it look like in a normal year? In a normal year in the SEC, what does it look like if you got both those players? I think this team looks a lot better, and certainly doesn't have just one win in the SEC. So it's just a pair of unfortunate circumstances for this year's basketball team.
It is.
So I still am confident. I'm still confident, Reagan, moving forward. And the good thing about this is a lot of the players, the really good players that are in this league, they're going to move on to the NBA, and it's very likely that LSU is going to hold on to a lot of their players, especially their younger players. Victorious Miller, you should have him back. I would expect Jalen Reed to come back.
We're gonna have to get some NIL deal to keep VJ.
Yeah, for real. I definitely think, and LSU's gonna have to hit the portal, obviously, but I definitely think there is room to grow, and there's
another good recruiting class, Zach.
Exactly.
You got Jalen Reese and Mays Mosley out from California, and both of those guys, and then of course you got the giant out from Pennsylvania. I'm drawing a blank on his name, who's almost 7 foot tall. But the Jalen Reese and Mays Mosley are both about to be McDonald All-Americans. That's a huge deal. Matt McMahon has recruited really well. So, like you said, I am still confident in Matt McMahon, and I do think he has the ability to win a lot of games. But like you said, it feels like a series of unfortunate events. Walked into a hard situation, scraped the roster together. Okay, the next year you figured it out, right? With a new roster, it's a little bit better. You had a better season. This year, the SEC is like SEC baseball, right?
Yeah, it's the best it's ever been in my time of watching.
Literally, it's ever been. And you lose two guys that would be your starters. Like Jalen Reed would be your starting 5. Tyrell Ward would be your starting 3. And then you pair those two guys with, Cam Carter, Jordan Sears, and
Damian Collins, Corey
Chest, Damian Collins. You fill in that 4 spot there with, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Maybe Derek Fountain, just because he's a veteran guy. Like that. That's a more formidable front. Instead, you don't have Jalen Reed, you don't have Tyrell Ward, and those are guys who've been with Matt McMahon the entire time at LSU. They're the only guys who've been with Matt McMahon the entire time at LSU.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It is. I'm not saying you fired him. I'm not saying that. But certainly it's like, okay, at some point we have to be critical and say, we want to see the changes made, and we want to see success. It's hard. What was Ryan saying?
Well, Ryan said what the SEC lacked in football this year, they made up in basketball.
That's true. That's true.
Murray says you can't make the case that the SEC has surpassed the ACC in men's basketball at this point. No, but the SEC is the best it's ever been, like altogether for sure.
I don't know. I feel like
you could probably argue that you could debate that the SEC overall is better than the
more ranked SEC teams, I think, than the ACC currently.
Yeah,
especially in the top few teams, top 10.
The ACC is always going to be up there for sure, though.
But anyways, but at the same time, I look around and I see, teams that are having success with coaches early on. I mean, Missouri's having a decent season. Vanderbilt's having a decent season. So it's kind of like, okay, it can be done. What do we got to do to make that happen? So
yeah.
I was about to say, didn't we dominate the SEC ACC challenge?
Well, I think you are. Actually, yeah, you're correct. I'm pretty sure
9-0.
It was we started 9-0. I think it ended with only one loss,
2 losses, yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
Brandon, love you, guy. Appreciate you being here, but yeah, I do. My mind drew a blank on that. Like, I knew in the rankings we were better, but I forgot about the SEC, ACC. We dominated this.
In Brandon's defense, he might be just talking like overall in the brand.
Seen this one season
with the brand of college basketball that the AC has, and all that because obviously there's more. You got the blue bloods of college basketball in the
historically the ACC. Yes,
that's probably what he is referring to.
Sure.
So
Duke,
we got you.
Syracuse, those type of teams,
all the really good teams. Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, well, Reagan, basketball, women's keep staying hot. Men struggling still, but seem
maybe this stretch.
Maybe you got it. Like we said, 6-game stretch. But moving on from basketball, Reagan, we're covering just about all the sports in this one show, which is great.
Avenue for Tiger Sports.
It is literally the avenue for Tiger Sports. Welcome to Tigers Avenue. So Reagan, obviously LSU football, there's been some staff turnover, which is normal in the offseason. That's typical. But LSU has recently hired 2 new members for the LSU football staff and 2 very experienced members. Obviously, you lost Slade Nagel to tight ends. You lost Bob Diaco going to go and be a coach on Bill Belichick's staff. Don't blame him there. But LSU had to add a couple of spots on this staff, and they have done that with hiring Amon Anad and Alex Adkins at positions that you needed. Right, you needed a tight ends coach. Alex Adkins fills that. You hired 2 previous offensive coordinators. Miami's former OC, and you hired Florida State's former OC. So, and both are, they're getting those buyouts, Reagan.
But yes,
they're both getting those buyouts. So, they're kind of comfortable, at taking whatever LSU is offering. So, big hire. I think they're great hires. I wouldn't say home run hires, but they're phenomenal hires. I think Brian Kelly has made it very clear that he wants to go after guys with ties to Louisiana. Both Alex Atkins and Amon Anad have ties to Louisiana. When you look around the entirety of this staff now, everybody's got ties to Louisiana. Everybody. And so it seems like Brian Kelly has finally kind of understood, the best way to compete with LSU and be a national contending football team. It's to use the dirt, right? Which many people have said, right? Use the resources that you have at LSU. Use the resources that you have there in the state of Louisiana. So going and getting these 2 guys fills major needs, but it also adds on to an already stacked staff when it comes to recruiting Louisiana. Alex Adkins, regarded as a phenomenal recruiter. He is the reason Solomon Thomas is at LSU. I don't know if you heard that, Reagan, but Alex Adkins was the reason that Solomon Thomas had originally committed to Florida State. Alex Adkins gets dismissed from Florida State. Solomon Thomas decommits, and Solomon Thomas asks, "Hey, where should I go?" Alex Adkins tells him, "LSU. Go to LSU. It'd be a great place for you to go and play." And so, and be coached under Brad Davis. And now LSU hires Alex Atkins. So, that's got to be encouraging for Solomon Thomas. Alex Atkins is going to coach the tight ends and help and assist in the run game as a run game coordinator. Yeah. So obviously you lacked a lot when it came to the run game last year, even though it seemed like you had the pieces to have a really solid run game. Just didn't seem to, be able to finally get going, throughout the entire season. I mean, there's moments, right, but
there's flashes.
Just never seemed to manifest itself. And so, I think this is a big time hire for Brian Kelly to get somebody that can coach the tight ends, that can focus on the run game and help Joe Sloan out a little bit. Which again, I mean, I know a lot of us kind of poo-pooed on Joe Sloan for some of the coaching, for some of the coaching style and play calls and all that kind of stuff, scheme. But overall, I think Joe Sloan did a phenomenal job, and this just brings a guy that has a ton of Alex Atkins. Bringing him in is a guy that has a ton of experience that can help coach along Joe Sloan. And then Amon, I hope I'm saying it right. Amon Anad is going to specifically coach the star position. So
I think you're getting two guys mixed up, Zach.
no,
Almond is the special teams guy coming from Grambling. You're thinking of Lance Guidry.
Yes, Lance. Sorry.
Yeah.
Amon Anad. Yes, he's going to be coaching special teams, and Lance Guidry is going to be coaching the star position. Right. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I don't keep up with these guys.
They all got hired about the same time.
They all got hired around the same time. So yes,
and similar backstories.
Yeah, exactly. Like I promise y'all, I'm not sitting here, Googling, who can be our next run game coordinator, who can be our special teams. Like I just wait to see what happens, and then when the hire happens, okay, cool. And then you hear about the experience, you're like, awesome, great.
There you go.
So obviously, very well experienced guys, right? Yeah. I think overall, Brian Kelly has rounded out the staff really well. I'm encouraged. I think one of the concerns for some of the fans would be, is there too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Is there too many peas in the pot, right? Or however you want to phrase it. And I do think, maybe that could be an issue potentially, but if you know the role you're in and, if there's very clear job titles, job descriptions laid out there, and I think Brian Kelly is very professional in the way that he operates a program. Sure. I think he's going to do a phenomenal job at operating this program with all these very experienced and veteran coaches on this staff. When you think about it, though, I mean, just putting a roster together, putting a staff together, this is a group that, there really can't be an area where you feel like you don't have some, expertise that can chime in, right? Now after they've made these last three hires. So hopefully LSU can improve, with these hires. Hopefully the run game can improve. Adding Alex Adkins. Hopefully, Harold Perkins, he can get back to who he was and what he was in his freshman season, bringing in Lance Guidry, and then hopefully, special teams can kind of they were pretty good last year. I think we could say that. Hopefully, the special teams can kind of shore up some of the issues that they had last year and continue to build off the success that they had from last year with Amon Anad. So that's kind of my take on so far on the hires. Reagan, what do you think?
Yeah, and I totally agree. You're really you're getting a deal with, especially Guidry and Atkins. You are getting a deal. You're to your point. You're literally getting a defensive coordinator to come and be one of your defensive analysts.
Yeah,
right. You're getting a guy who's an offensive coordinator, Alex Atkins, who's been making play calls for the last couple of years, to now come and coach and coordinate your run game and tight ends. And Zach, things were horrible this year for Florida State. It was awful. Literally probably the worst season Florida State's ever had in recent history. It was really, really bad. I think that certainly had more to do with the players they had than the coaches they had. And after a season like that, that's just kind of the way things go in the coaching world. You got to make changes to keep people happy, right? Mike Norvell needed to make some changes to keep the folks happy because it was a horrendous year. Alex Atkins was the play caller the year Florida State went undefeated with Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
And was kept out of the playoffs because of Jordan breaking his leg. So it's not like Alex is some incapable play caller that came in and botched it all year long. He led a team as an offensive coordinator to an undefeated season under Mike Norvell with Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman and Johnny I'm forgetting his last name, and all those got Trey Benson, all those really, really great players.
Yeah.
And so bringing him in as an analyst, right? Not an analyst, excuse me, that's Guidry, but as your last on-field staffer, tight ends, run game coordinator, feels like the deal of a lifetime. And yes, to your point, Atkins is viewed as a phenomenal recruiter. Phenomenal. In fact, Ed Orgeron tried to hire him. It didn't work out. Atkins ended up not coming to LSU. But now Brian Kelly gets him here. And to your point, Solomon Thomas was going to Florida State and admitted this on the record that he was the sole reason that he was going to Florida State. And yes, was told by Atkins to go to LSU because of his relationship with Brad Davis. So think about how good that's going to work. That their relationship is so good, Atkins will say, yeah, you need to go play for Brad Davis.
Yeah.
And now they're together, working on the run game together, right? That's fantastic. I think about, you look at the running backs room and you see the talent, right? That's there, the potential. Caden Durham, Caleb Jackson returning, and then coming in freshman stars, right? Harlem Berry, 5-star, number 1 in the country. JT Lindsey, number 2 in Louisiana, right behind Harlem Berry. Top 10 running back in the country as well. And you go, man, there's some dogs. There's some dogs in our running back room. We ought to be able to run the ball. And at times, Caden Durham did. He flashed. And it reminds me so much of 2018, 2019. 2018, you got all these dogs in your receiver room.
Yeah.
With Justin Jefferson and Terrace Marshall and Jamar Chase and all these guys. But Joe Burrow threw for like 18 touchdowns. And then you hire this guy named Joe Brady to come be your pass game coordinator, right? And your passing game explodes, and Joe Burrow throws for 60 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying you're going to see that same kind of explosion, but it's a similar situation. You got crazy talent that maybe isn't getting tapped in the way it needs to. You bring in a good, talented, experienced, good recruiting, well-established coach like Alex Atkins to come in and coordinate your run game. I really like it. Really, really stinking like it. You got a defensive coordinator from a Power 5 school in Miami coming to be one of your analysts, right? You're getting a deal there with so you have the 10 on-field staff, right? Alex Atkins fills that 10 spot. Guidry is an analyst, and essentially you're still because all the analysts can now be on the field and wear a headset, right? They can do all the things that the 10 personnel on the staff can do, except for like recruit and travel recruit. You had Bob Diaco on your staff who was doing your special teams as an analyst, and he's essentially the special teams coordinator without the title. And that's what you're doing with Amon. That's exactly what you're doing. He was Grambling State's special teams coordinator, and he's been all over the place. He started from the bottom as a GA, and he's worked his way up, and here he is now getting a chance at the flagship school of Louisiana, not Grambling, right, to come be an analyst, and really he's going to be the special teams coordinator. That's just not going to be his title, right? So, I mean, it's brilliant for Brian Kelly. If you ask me, these are brilliant hires. You're saving money and getting guys that are going to do that are experienced and are far overqualified. I think that's the word I was looking for, to do the jobs that they're doing. I'll take it all day long, and they all have Louisiana ties. Yeah, sign me up. These are perfect hires. Perfect. He nailed it.
Well, speaking of football, Reagan, congrats as an order as Jaden Daniels has won the Rookie of the Year. So, I mean, well deserved. Well deserved.
Literally, I do want to talk about that. Jaden Daniels just had arguably the greatest rookie quarterback season of all time.
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's really close. I mean, this Washington team had not won a playoff game in over 20 years, and he led them to the NFC Championship. Not just a playoff win. He led them to the division championship.
Yeah.
I mean, not the division champ, the conference champ. I mean, they had not been in 33 years, Zach.
Yeah.
And Buddy was carrying. But Buddy was carrying.
Yeah, if they can, fix some other areas on that team, with some draft picks and some free agency moves, I mean, that could be a really good team. That could be another really good team. I mean, 12-5. They went 12-5 this year with that team.
Yes.
And obviously, Terry McLaughlin and Eckler and Jaden Daniels, and I mean, they had a really good team this year. So
Robinson, Ertz,
yeah, they had a good team this year that just really needed a playmaker at quarterback, and Jaden Daniels brought that. So how good can they be in the years to follow? Who knows? It's crazy with in the NFL. It's hard to repeat in the NFL as it is in college. It's a lot harder to repeat success in the NFL than it is in college. So hopefully this is just a preview to more continued success for the Washington Commanders and led by Jaden Daniels. So hopefully he can continue to represent LSU well.
Brandon said they need another big-time receiver to help out McLaurin. Man, Scary Terry's amazing, but I do think they have a guy. I think De'Ami Brown is an underrated rookie receiver. I think they nailed drafting De'Ami Brown. I mean, he became a pretty favorite target of Jaden Daniels outside of Scary. So I think De'Ami – but I do get your point. They do need another big target, right? Another guy who can really, really break the game like Scary. But I really like De'Ami Brown. I mean, they drafted well. They really did. The JD5, De'Ami Brown. Of course, they hired Dan Quinn. I mean, there's a lot of talent on that. Brian Robinson Jr. is a fantastic running back. And then Eckler's right behind him. I mean, it's just there's a couple pieces that need to fall in line defensively, and maybe on the offensive line as well. And they could be fantastic. They could be fantastic. And I think that's a great point. Dan Marino is the only rookie that had a better run than JD5. Maybe so. Yes, maybe so. And that's why I said it's maybe not 100%. But anyways. And Brandon, by the way, if the Commanders go get Higgins, dude, I don't know if the Bengals can afford to keep Higgins again. So if Higgins goes anywhere, I'd be thrilled if that happened.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zach, props to JD5. The vindication of guys saying like JD5 would be holding a clipboard at Washington and Oregon.
Yeah.
And then now Heisman Trophy, Rookie of the Year, led his team to the NFC Championship. I mean, JD5 was everything that they did not think he was. He's every bit of it.
Yeah.
He's every bit of what we thought he was. Amazing year for JD5. So
for sure.
We'll have to endure a boring Super Bowl again, but I'm proud of JD5 regardless.
Go Eagles.
Yes, please. With that being said, hey, there's lots of comments coming in. We're going to hit a quick break, and we'll get to our last segment after this break, and we'll get to your comments as well right after this. 5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Right back at it here in the Tigers Avenue show, final segment here, and Buddy, a segment I'm itching to talk about.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Zach, but before we stinking dive in to the baseball infield, we talked about this in our thread. Why in God's green earth is LSU baseball not playing Ole Miss?
I don't know. It's weird.
What are we doing?
LSU's been playing Ole Miss in baseball for as long as I can remember.
I'm mad about
And yeah, it's a little weird for LSU not playing Ole Miss this year.
I mean,
But that's kind of how it is with the new format and everything. So,
but why do we play Oklahoma and Texas?
yeah, you probably should have had Ole Miss still in there and then rotated in one of the new teams. But
that aggravates me. That aggravates me. There's that, and we'll get to those. I guess we do need to get to some of the comments. I said we would.
Yeah, let's address the one that Brandon mentioned earlier. Brandon, we're glad you're joining us, man.
This is the exact comment.
Great question. Which SEC baseball stadiums have y'all been to, and which ones do y'all want to visit for the first time? Well, obviously we've been to Alex Box. That's pretty obvious. We have been to Ole Miss at Swayze a few times. We went to the old Duty Noble.
I've been to the new Duty Noble,
and I have too.
Oh yeah, you were with me. Me, you, and Jacob. That's right.
We've been to the old Duty Noble and the new Duty Noble. Which, by the way, the new Duty Noble is phenomenal.
It's like phenomenal. LSU's got to,
yeah, because it's honestly it's better than LSU Stadium, right? 100%. I'll be interested this year, which we obviously we'll plan to go to at least a game this year in Alex Box Stadium. I'll be interested to see the new dugout, the new dugouts. So that'll be interesting. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, the new foul lines, how that's going to work out.
Yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. But we've also been to Hoover.
I haven't been yet. I've got to go to Hoover.
Yep.
I've got to go to Hoover.
You didn't go with us? Maybe it was just me, Dad, and Simon. I think it was just me. Yeah.
I was not.
Went to Hoover. Wasn't the greatest trip because LSU lost to Arkansas in a really tight ball game.
Paul Skeens versus Hagen Smith. Y'all went to a great game. I hate y'all lost, but go watch Hagen Smith go up against Paul Skeens.
Yeah, it was a really phenomenal game. It sucked that we lost. I hated it for my dad. It was kind of my dad's birthday present for us to go there. You know, you always hate that, but you know,
it paid off. It paid off in the end.
It paid off in the end. Yeah. If I had to accept defeat in the SEC tournament at Hoover and sitting through that to win the national championship, I'm all for it. All day. Yeah. So I think that's it, Reagan. Is that the only baseball stadiums we've been to as far as this?
And he asked which ones I want to go to. Number one, I want to go because I live a lot closer, and so I'm going to need to. I hate that we're not going this year because if we were going this year, I would get tickets to go. But it's in Baton Rouge this year. But Tuscaloosa is really close now. I live like an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa. So I'm definitely going to go hit the road over there and get to that and Hoover. So I'm definitely going to have to go to that, to Hoover and Tuscaloosa. I want to go to Knoxville as much as I hate them.
Ugh.
I want to go to Knoxville.
Vanderbilt's not far either. We could go to Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt's not. I was just about to say
it's farther for you, but from us, it's not super far. You can make the trip up here and then yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if there's another one. I'm just like, man, we really got to go to that because Duty Noble's the best.
Duty Noble's the best,
and we've been to it. It ain't getting any better than that. Like it just ain't. Yeah. I mean, we've been to Alex Box and we've been to Duty Noble. That's like your two best SEC stadiums. Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to think of what other.
A&M's got a good stadium.
Yeah,
pretty good stadium.
Yeah,
I know you just hate it. Let's answer some questions, Reagan. He also said, "How do y'all feel about the Saints potentially hiring Kellen Moore from Philly?" I like it. Reagan doesn't care. I like it. I cheer for the Saints. Reagan does not. Reagan's a big.
I cheer for. Okay. If they're not playing the Bengals, if they're not playing the Commanders, obviously I cheer for them. But I could give a rip about the Saints. If they're in the Super Bowl,
my number one team in the NFL is the Saints. Our grandma was a big Saints fan on our dad's side. We have a lot of ties to New Orleans as a family. So I root for the Saints. I obviously root for the Bengals as well. Like Saints is like 1A and Bengals is like 1B for obvious reasons. So I would love it if I would like it for the Saints to hire Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore has had a lot of success everywhere he's been in the NFL. He's obviously having a lot of success at Philly. So I would think it would be a really good hire. How well does it play out? I don't know, but I think from just on paper, it's a good hire in my opinion.
I think the organization sucks. That's what I
shut
think.
up. I need Joe Burger.
Aaron Glenn. They whiffed on Aaron Glenn and
Joe Brady.
And now they're settling for a guy who recently was at the Cowboys and sucked, but now he's doing good because at the Eagles now, right? Anyway, just
we'll see. You never know. No, maybe he was just in a terrible. Maybe he's just in a terrible program or franchise. With the Cowboys.
I'm just kidding.
Ryan said I need Joe Burt and Jamar to knock the Swift Chiefs out of the playoffs next year. Hopefully so. Hopefully they're back. I need to make a game this year. Who does LSU play on April 12th? Ryan, you can't ask us that on the spot, man.
April 12th.
Let's see. LSU base.
You gotta go when LSU's playing Tennessee. That's when we need to play.
Yeah.
April 12th, they're playing Auburn.
Auburn.
It's at Auburn.
Yeah, it might be tough, Brandon. If you want to go to Alabama, good luck.
East Alabama. We need to go to Baton Rouge when they're playing Tennessee.
Yeah, we should.
Go to.
I'm trying to think of the biggest game that I've been to. I think the biggest games that I've been to when LSU was playing at the box was Auburn.
Yeah,
I think those were the biggest. Yeah, I've been to some big. Ole Miss playing LSU at Swayze is big. Obviously LSU playing Arkansas at Hoover's big.
Dude, think
LSU
about
playing State. No, Duty Noble's big.
If you can remember this name, you're a real LSU baseball fan. If you can.
Oh, okay.
Zach,
let's see.
Little piece of our childhood here. Still have the ball, by the way. If you can remember this name, you're for real an LSU fan.
Yeah,
LSU,
real LSU baseball fan.
Goes into extra innings, tied 3-3 in Swayze. Grant Dozar, hits the game-winning home run to make it 4-3, and I get a game ball from him. If you can remember Grant Dozar, you're a real LSU baseball fan.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yep, Grant Dozar. Great LSU baseball player. Brandon said SC baseball is going to go crazy this year, especially with Texas and Oklahoma in the conference now. He said LSU plays at Tennessee the weekend of April 12th. Which SEC baseball series are y'all looking for LSU to play this year? Looking most forward to? A&M. A&M at home. You're going to get A&M at home this year.
Shoot, maybe we should go to that one.
You beat A&M on the road. 2 out of 3 last year.
Champion.
Yeah, potentially.
It could.
He said everyone's going to do it. Anyways, right. So we need to move on to baseball. We're talking about baseball. Let's move on.
We need to talk about the infield. We need to talk about we've been talking about baseball. We just need to talk about the infield.
Yeah. We're already 55 minutes in, so we need to get to it. Reagan, LSU's infield is going to be really freaking good. They're going to be really freaking good. You're returning almost everybody. Biggest difference. Yeah. Biggest difference this year is you're going to have a new catcher and you're going to have a new second baseman.
Yeah.
I know Milam, which everybody's talked about already. So, this is not new information. As everybody knows now, Milam has moved over to the left side of the infield. Him and Braswell are going to be kind of going back and forth and playing third base, playing shortstop, rotating those two guys, figure out which one's the best spot. Sounds like Milam may end up at short and Braswell at third because Braswell just has a little bit better arm and Milam's a little bit more athletically gifted. Daniel Dickinson, one of the top prospects in this year's upcoming MLB draft, is going to slot in at second base. We already know who's playing first, Jared Jones. biggest question I think, Reagan, is at the catching position. Who is going to play catcher?
Well,
And you've got a whole host of options. You've got Luis Hernandez. You've got Kate Arambidi. You've got Blaze Priester. Sounds like from the early goings of practice that Kate Arambidi seems like he's leading that competition right now as far as, but you're going to see all of them. I mean, I really do. You're going to see all those guys. You saw Brady Neal and Milazzo rotate in and out very frequently the last 2 years at LSU in the last 2 LSU baseball seasons. So you're going to see 2 guys that are going to rotate in and out, I think, pretty frequently. Who are those 2 guys? I think Kate Arambidi is for sure one of those guys. Will it be Luis Hernandez? Will it be Blaze Priester that slots in there as that second guy to rotate with Kate Arambidi? We'll find that out. Obviously, there's also opportunity at the DH spot for those catchers. You're just really talented at the catcher position. So Reagan, what's your take?
Give me some. You really have a what's the saying? You have like a good problem.
Abundance of riches. I don't know.
Abundance of riches. You have a good problem with this, right?
Yeah.
Catcher is certainly one of the positions where you could easily get hurt. Based on all the positions, that's one where it's like you and probably the pitcher most likely are the ones to get hurt on a baseball field, and so you want to have all of them. And you saw that, you saw that. Hayden Travinski struggled with injuries a while back. Brady Neal struggled with back injuries. Milazzo ended up breaking his leg at one point late in the season. I think even in Omaha. So you need several catchers. Number one. Number two, Jay Johnson has talked about, certain catchers fitting well with certain pitchers, certain catchers on certain days, depending on which side they bat from, depending on, is it going to be a more defensive day or is it going to be a more offensive day? And so to your point, I don't know if you could see another situation where they are, especially in the beginning of the season, you are going to see all of them. You're going to see Blaze, you're going to see Cade, you're going to see Lewis, and you're going to see them rotating at the DH as well. You can maybe throw Jake Brown in the mix for the DH as well. And by the way, we'll talk more about Jake Brown, but we're talking about Infield right now. For the catcher position, I think day one starter. If I had to name a starter, I think they would name Kate Arambidi the starter. Talented, gifted behind the plate. The bat is a bit questionable. Struggled a little bit in his senior year, but not horrible. I don't think it's like Alex Milazzo type. His first few seasons. Right, where he was just an elite defensive catcher, but at the plate, it was like automatic out.
Yeah.
Right, like now later on, Milazzo got better. His last 2 seasons, he improved drastically. I don't think it's that kind of at the plate issues. But Blaze Priester led your team in home runs in fall ball, had 7. Nobody was even really close. I think the closest was 4. Blaze Priester had 7. And is good enough behind the plate where if you think it's going to be an offensive day, you put him in the lineup, right? Luis Hernandez right there with him. A good combo of both. Maybe not the most elite defensively, maybe not the most elite at the plate, but he's solid at both. So it's going to be a rotation certainly at the beginning of the year, unless a guy, Zach, just kind of separates himself, right? Like Stephen Milam last year, it got to a point where it's like, okay, you can't take Stephen Milam out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas before he wasn't the everyday starter.
Like Ashton Larson as well. It just got to a point where you couldn't take him out.
You just got to a point where it's like, okay, these guys are balling. So there's going to be a rotation at the beginning. There really is. So we'll see. If I had to name somebody, I think I would say Cade Aaron-Beatty. Cade Aaron-Beatty has been named preseason freshman of the year. I'm gonna say that again. Freshman of the year by D1 Baseball. So wait, no. I think it was Derek Curiel. I think I'm wrong about that. Anyways, he's gonna be really stinking good. Cade Aaron-Beatty's gonna be really good. He's a guy you thought was 100% going to the draft and showed up, along with Derek Curiel.
It's gonna be pretty cool seeing him wear that 0 too.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. Really cool. But Zach, your infield is gonna be really, really stinking good. You're returning Bear and Milam and Braswell, who were great for you last year. Maybe putting them in even better positions for their skill sets, and then you're plugging Daniel Dickinson in at second base.
Yeah,
like come on, and you got options at the catcher. It's going to be really, really good. I think the infield is the easiest to talk about this year. The outfield is going to be hard to talk about. There's a lot of guys.
Reagan, some other guys I know kind of feels like you're kind of set. You know, you're going into this year kind of pretty like these are our guys. You know, outside of the catcher, like these are our guys. You know, there was a little bit of some question marks going into last year. Of course, Stephen Milam kind of took things over, but some other guys, Reagan, that are in the infield that could very easily get some playing time. Tanner Reeves, Mikey Ryan. I know Terrio is very big on Mikey Ryan. You know, a lot of people are high on Tanner Reeves, but Terrio has been very big on Mikey Ryan. Says, you know, he could potentially have a very high ceiling compared to some of the other guys. So, you know, true freshman. Of course, Tanner Reeves, you know, he should have 4 years eligibility now thanks to the Pavia rule.
JUCO transfer.
Yeah, JUCO transfer.
Same with Blaze Priester.
Yep, same with Blaze. I mean, yeah. So which is really cool. You know, you might see Ethan Frey in some first at first base a little bit here and there. But overall, I mean, it feels like it's kind of weird, right? Because it kind of feels like our conversation is done. Like that's it.
Really, like I think that's gonna be your 4, unless, you know, again, unless somebody just emerges and it's just like, okay, we love Stephen Milam, but holy crap, Tanner Reeves is.
Yeah, I mean, you also, I guess you could also throw Eddie Yaman in there. Obviously, the transfer. He's another catcher that you could have in there. He's another guy that could play first base. So, you know, he's another guy you could throw into the mix there that will probably get some playing time.
But haven't heard his name as much. Haven't
heard his name as much as the other guys. Yeah, for sure. So, Reagan, I guess big question here is where do you settle at? Does Milam settle in at shortstop? Does Braswell settle in at third base? That's kind of the question mark, is, even though there really isn't many question marks, but the one question mark is, you know, where do Stephen Milam and Michael Braswell settle in when all is said and done, Reagan?
Yeah, you know, the talk is that Braswell will be third and Milam will be short. And honestly, that just makes the most sense. Milam, you know, there was times last year when Braswell would kick a few balls and or he'd miss it on a hop. And I think it was really his timing. And I think that's because he wasn't as quick as maybe you'd want him to be at a shortstop. Not that he was horrible, but there were times when he struggled, as we all know. And I think third base suits him a little bit more, right? That he doesn't have to react as quickly. Now, I mean, it's the hot corner. Balls flying in right at you. But in terms of ranging balls, you know, circling balls, all those kind of things, Milam's certainly more swift on his feet with that.
I mean, you saw that last year, even with him at second, the crazy plays that he made.
The range he could make. Yeah, absolutely.
Reminds you a lot of the last New Mexico shortstop that came in.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that really cool? That
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
He's going to be playing shortstop this year. So, yeah, it just naturally – and Braswell's probably got a bigger arm than Milam. He's probably got the biggest arm on the infield in terms of, third, short, and second. He's got the biggest arm. So it makes sense to put him there. He doesn't have to range as much. He can easily make the throw. Milam's got the athleticism, and he can make the throw from short just fine. Daniel Dickinson probably pans out as a second baseman at the next level. Again, another elite defender. You pluck it's really good. I do think it pans out that way. I do. Barring any kind of unforeseen rise from Tanner Reeves or Mikey Ryan, I think that's your kind of core. Bear Jones and maybe Cade Aaron Beatty behind the plate. So,
yep. So right, should be pretty straightforward. We would assume, knock on wood. Hopefully, there's no injuries, but you feel pretty confident if they're, worst case scenario, something happens to an infielder. You got, a couple guys in Mike Rizzi and Tanner Reeves that you feel really confident in coming in and stepping up. And obviously, as we mentioned already, Lord forbid something happen with one of our catchers, you've got plenty of options that can step in and fill that role. So infield seems pretty short up, Reagan. But the big question is, what is LSU going to do at outfield because of the amount of players that they do? We're going to have to get to that next week, Reagan. But that'll be a big topic of discussion in next week's show.
It will. Man, there's going to be – I don't know if we'll be able to decide on a starting three, but, man, there's certainly going to be some shuffling out there and some testing and some all those things. First few series, midweek games of the season, no question. You really like to have a set lineup by, conference play. We'll see how that all plays out. That's what I love about the early season. God, I love it. I'm itching for it, man. I stinking love baseball season. There's so many games to enjoy, and LSU is always good and talented. And so I'm pumped for the season. It's going to be great. It really is. And we'll discuss outfield on the next segment. Appreciate all you guys in here. Ryan, Brandon, I know y'all are still talking about it. USC is irrelevant in baseball. I see y'all talking absolutely irrelevant. Nobody cares about their championships anymore. Nobody talks about them in baseball. Nobody talks about them in football or, anything. They are old news. USC is a athletic program of the past, outdated, washed. Yes, they beat LSU. I get that, but when have they won anything of significance in anything in recent history? None.
I don't remember them winning anything of significance since I've been growing up.
They literally lost to Tulane in a Cotton Bowl with Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner, 2 years ago.
Everyone picking the draft that didn't win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Brandon says, do you think LSU versus Texas can become a rivalry? I do. I think
for sure. They've obviously got, that's two of the teams that have been blue bloods in baseball. Two of the teams that have stayed relevant, unlike USC, have many national championships. Obviously, had the head-to-head in 2009. So, yeah, for sure.
I think it could. I think it certainly could. I'd love to beat them this year.
Yep.
Can't stand them. Anyways. All right. Appreciate all you guys being in here and interacting. Y'all been great tonight, talking in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Hey, outfield preview next show. We'll give you a look in the outfield. Lots of guys that could potentially find a spot out there and rotate or whatever it may be. That's going to be a tougher one to talk about in the infield. So y'all be looking for that. And we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time here in the Tigers Avenue Show. If I stay here, take us out. Peace.
Who that?